Hi there, welcome to geometry class. My name is Mrs. McSorley. I'll be working with you through this adventure. What you're looking at right now on the screen is our course announcement page. This is going to be the first page that you see every time you log into this class. What we're going to do during the course of this video is hopefully familiarize you with a few of the key features of the course, answer any questions you might have, and go over some of those important policies and procedures. That way you can be successful while you're completing geometry. So what you're going to be doing is you'll go to your student dashboard, you will enter your username and your password, and then once that information is input, down towards the bottom of the screen, you'll see all of your current enrollments. Next to geometry, you will see a link that says enter this course. That link will take you straight to this page. On our announcement page, we have a whole slew of resources available to you. The biggest one being this big bright red bar up at the top. If you click on this bar, you will be transported to a resource site. At the top, we have several videos that are here to help you. We have a short video clip on how to get into your lessons tab, how to navigate through that. There's a video on how to make sure that you're submitting your work correctly. How to check your gradebook. Maybe you turned in an assignment and you didn't quite do as well as you want to. So this link here is about how to check your gradebook, how to resubmit assignments if you think you can do better. We also have a video clip about your pace chart. Our standard pace for geometry is going to be 4 assignments each week. But if we need to work at a faster pace, or we need to alter our pace in any way, shape, or form based on your requirements for school or your goals or deadlines, we can create an individualized pace plan to help you meet those needs. We also have a short clip explaining what in the world a DBA, or a discussion-based assessment, is, a link to some amazing note-taking guides, as well as a Quizlet tool, which is great to help you study vocabulary and other important information for a lesson, and a crazy program called GeoGebra. We're going to chat more about that later. Down below all of these videos, you will see that there is a chart of resources organized by chapter. Now, in these resources, we do have note-taking guides. We also have what to submit videos and quick start forms. The note-taking guides are going to be present when we're learning about new information. Typically, these will be fill in the blank or places for you to insert examples and things like that. Whenever you see a what to submit video or a quick start form, that's a pretty good idea that this is going to be a hands-on project. So the what to submit video is kind of what it sounds like. It's going to be a short video clip that explains exactly what you need to turn in this case for lesson 102. It's not only going to tell you what you need to do, but it's also going to give you some pointers on where in the lesson we learned about it. So if you need to go back, that's perfectly fine. The quick start form that goes along with that is going to be like a note-taking guide, but for the actual assignment. It's going to give you an outline of all of the pieces that you need to submit in order to earn full credit. So again, what to submit and quick start forms, those are more for hands-on or project-based assignments. Whereas some of the ones you'll see don't have that. This might be one of those assignments where we have a short multiple choice quiz or some other assessment that we're going to complete. Off to the right hand side, you will also see additional help videos and other resources. You are welcome to use this site for every single section. I definitely recommend taking a peek at the note-taking guides. They are a great tool and you are able to use them as you're completing lessons or DBAs or other chapter tests and quizzes. So feel free to take a look around this resource site at your convenience and see if there are any tools there that you'd like to use. Back on the announcement page, we have even more resources. In the center of the screen, you do see my picture there, but more importantly, we have some contact information. Down here, you'll find my phone number. This is a great number to use if you need to give me a call or you want to send me a text message. You can also feel free to email me at any time. We do have email set up through the course that you're welcome to use as well. I will be available to you all from 8 to 8. You don't have to make an appointment, but sometimes if it's something that we really need to talk about or it's really important, sometimes you might want to make an appointment. And the reason for that is that if we make an appointment, we are guaranteed that you and I have a time set apart just for us. So there won't be any other students that are texting in or calling in. It'll just be us working together. If you feel you need to make an appointment, that way we can have that time set aside, you're going to use this link down here that says Book Now. When you click on this link, you'll be transported to a page where you can input your name and contact information, and we can set up our time to chat there. I have an incredible team of teachers that I work with and an awesome principal. My principal's name is Jason Schultz, or Mr. Schultz. You are welcome to give him a call or send him an email if you need to. His contact information is also here. And down below you will see some of the pictures for the team of teachers that I work with. Mrs. Lanier, Mrs. Lett, and Mr. Roque are 3 of the teachers that I currently team with. The reason that we team at Florida Virtual School isn't so that we can confuse you and give you 4 different teachers, but we do want to make sure that if there's ever anything that comes up, like a doctor's appointment, or if I have to go pick up my little one from daycare, we want to make sure that there's always someone there for you to talk to. So I work with a small group of teachers, as well as a couple of others, to make sure that if I ever need to leave, there's always someone here. So if you give me a call on any given day, if I'm out of the office, there's a chance that you might be able to talk to one of these 3 individuals. You would be in great hands working with any of these or any of my other teammates, so don't be afraid. It is perfectly fine. We just want to make sure that you're taken care of. We will come back to some of these other resources on our announcement page shortly. Let's get you going with what we need to do in order to submit work. So when you first log in, over on the top left side of the page, you will always see these blue tabs over here. This very top tab that says Lessons is where you'll go to access your online textbook. When you click on the Lessons tab, you're going to be transported to this crazy looking city. It has a little bit of everything in there. If you are brand new to Florida Virtual School, this link right here, this little star that says Welcome to GeoCity, is going to be a great tool. It's going to have more information about how to navigate through the course, where to find certain pieces of information, and things like that. If you already feel comfortable in the class or you're an FLVS veteran, you don't have to go to the Welcome to GeoCity link. If you notice on this map, we have 9 different spots. The first 5 are actually in a blue or black kind of color. Chapters 1 through 5 are actually part of semester 1. So if you are only working on semester 1 of geometry, you'll be working with chapters 1 through 5 or modules 1 through 5. Segment 2 is going to be modules 6 through 9. So if you are only working on segment 2, you would actually start with module 6. What you'll do is you will click on the chapter that you're starting in. For example, we'll go to chapter 1. Every time you click on a chapter, you will be taken to the introduction page. Typically, you will see a short video on that page, but if you scroll down a bit, you'll also see a quick check sheet that you can use. Now you'll notice on this check sheet there are some estimated completion times here. These might be accurate for you, but they might be a little bit of an over-exaggeration too. For example, on this Module 1 pretest, you're going to either know the information or you're not. So it's not something that we need you to spend hours and hours poring over because it's okay if you don't know it. It's a pretest. We haven't learned it yet. So you may find that you only take 15 minutes on the pretest instead of the 40 minutes it's here. On other assignments where it says you might expect to take 60 minutes, that's the time it takes to read the lesson, do the assignment, and finish everything up. That 60 minutes may also be a little bit over-exaggerated for you, but what we want to make sure of is that when we're expected to take time on an assignment, we are not completing the entire thing in 2 minutes. A lot of the time when that happens, our scores might not be the best. So you may not be taking quite as much time as what's indicated here on our check sheet. However, make sure that you are using your due diligence to read the material, learn it, and then complete your assignment. Now, as you're working through the class, there are some navigation tools up at the top. We have our little home screen. We also have our 2 arrows to go left to right. At the beginning of each chapter, this is a great way to navigate through the class, to just use those arrows. But when we're about a couple assignments in, halfway through, it's going to be really time consuming to do that. So over to the left of the screen here, we have some navigation tools. Up top, our little stopwatch is how we can browse through the course. So we have a pane here where we can select our chapter. On the next tab, we can select our lesson. Say, for example, let's say I was ready to go on to lesson 105. I would click the lesson. If I've never been there before, I would start with the introduction and read through the lesson. Now, let's say I have already read through it. I'm working on that 105 assignment, and I just don't remember what I was supposed to do. Well, instead of going through the introduction and clicking through, I could jump down to my lesson summary and assessment. This is a great way to review those project requirements. So on the lesson summary and assessment, we're always going to begin with a GeoVerview, a quick review of what we've been learning in the lesson. Now in lesson 105, we're actually learning about some different constructions using a program called GeoGebra. So on the GeoVerview, there is a great review of some of the steps it takes to construct these items in GeoGebra. What you'll notice though is that the GeoVerview is not really good enough to replace the lesson. It's got great information, but it's just not quite the same. In the lesson, for this one, there are actually pictures and videos that can kind of help guide you through it, whereas your overview is just text, so it might be a little confusing. On the next page, though, you will find directions for how to complete assignment 105. So you'll notice this assignment has 3 pieces. In the first piece, we're actually going to be constructing something. We're going to be doing some drawings. The second part tells us we need to explain how we completed 2 out of our 3 constructions from part 1. And then for part 3, we have a couple of reflection questions to ask. So on this lesson summary and assessment page, you will find all of the specifics for what you need to include on your assignment submission. Don't forget though, for project-based assignments like this, we have that quick start form and the what to submit video that can also help you out. So what you would see if you were going in to submit lesson 105, you would go over to your assessments tab. Now my assessments tab looks a little bit different from your assessments tab, so I'm not going to click on that right now, but if you were to click on the 1.05 assignment from your assessments tab, you would see an upload screen. And on that upload screen, you would take the files of the work that you've created, you would upload it to that assignment. There's also a student comment section, so you can feel free to type in any notes, any messages about how the project went, or anything that you think I need to be aware of, and then you would submit that. So on any normal day, what you'll be doing is you'll go to your Lessons tab to read over the lesson for an assignment, then you'll go to your Assessments tab to complete the assignment. So we'll go Lessons, Assessments, Lessons, Assessments. Now sometimes at the end of a lesson, instead of seeing directions like this, you will actually just be told, please go complete the 1.01 lesson assessment. That's a really good indicator that it's probably just going to be a brief multiple choice or free response question. So on those assignments, it's usually only about 4 or 5 questions. There might be a couple of more. But that's just to check in and see how you're doing with the information so far. Now at the beginning of each chapter, we have what's called a pretest. So when you get into chapter 1, you're going to go through and you're going to start with a chapter 1 pretest, lesson 1.00. That chapter 1 pretest, like we were saying, it is what it is. You either know the information or you don't, and that's totally fine. What I really like about the pretest, though, is that if you can show that you've already learned the information, you already have mastery over it, you can actually exempt those assignments, or you can skip over it. So what that means is that you don't get a 100 out of 100 for that assignment, but you're also not getting a 0 out of 100 either. The lesson more or less just doesn't exist for your gradebook. So what that would allow us to do is, instead of having to complete that assignment for the current week, we could skip over it and we could actually work ahead. We could work at a little bit faster pace because we've already shown mastery. So it's not going to be uncommon if you take a pretest and on some pretests you find out that you can exempt 2 to 3 assignments, maybe more, but maybe on the next chapter you can't exempt anything. Because of the way that the chapters are set up, it is perfectly fine if we're able to exempt some assignments in some chapters, but then in other chapters we can't exempt any. It all depends on what background information you have. There is no minimum requirement for the score on a pretest in order to be able to exempt assignments. The way that it works is that in the pretest, we will have different chunks of questions. So let's say for lesson 101, we need to show mastery on questions 1, 2, and 3 on our pretest. Well, if you get all 3 of those questions correct, but you missed everything else, I would still send you a message saying, hey, awesome job. You showed mastery of this content, so you're able to skip over lesson 101. Obviously, we still expect you to know the information by the time you get to a chapter test, but if you would like to skip over that individual assignment, you are more than welcome to. So you'll receive feedback after your pretest, either letting you know that you're able to exempt some assignments or giving you links to some of those helpful resources. After our pretest, then we start working through our chapter lessons. As we go through the lessons, we're going to come through some assignments, and towards the end, Virtual School has a little bit of a unique way of finishing up a chapter. So just like how we start with a pretest, we're going to start closing up the chapter with a practice test. The idea is that by the time we get to that practice test, you should have a pretty strong understanding of that information. So we're looking for you to show at least 70% mastery on your practice test. After we do a practice test, we have that DBA that we talked about earlier, that discussion-based assessment. During that discussion-based assessment, you and I are going to sit down, we're going to chat on the phone for about 5, maybe 10 minutes, but it's our time to really check in with one another, see how things are going, make sure that you're understanding the information that you've been learning, see if there's anything that we need to go over one more time. This is our time to make sure that you're ready to take your chapter test. If everything's looking good, it's during that DBA call that you're going to get the password for your chapter exam. So we would do our practice test at the end of the chapter. From there, we set up a time for us to chat for your DBA, and then we do your chapter test. A DBA appointment might be one of those instances where you might use that appointment scheduler just to make sure that you and I have a set time where we can chat. So that's kind of our basic navigation of the course. You'll see though over here we have a lot more of those blue tabs besides your lessons and your assessments tab. The email tab, pretty obvious what that is. This is where all of your emails will be if I'm sending you a message, say, hey, you're exempt from this assignment, or hey, you know when you did that assignment, there was this one little piece that we goofed on and I really think you could do better on it. Can you take another look at it? That's where you're going to receive all of your important feedback, all of the emails and correspondence through the course. Your gradebook tab is where you can go to check and see how you're doing overall in the class. This is also where you're going to go to resubmit assignments. So when you first log in, your assessments tab is going to have every single assignment in the entire course that you're going to be working on. It's kind of overwhelming sometimes. But the cool part is, as soon as you submit an assignment, it leaves your assessments tab. So it's almost like a paper chain. And every time you turn an assignment, we're taking one of those chains away. We're taking one of the assessments off of that assessments tab. Well, what happens then if I say, hey, why don't we redo this? And it's not on your assessments tab. That's where you would go into your gradebook. From your gradebook, you can open up, you can see feedback on your lessons, you can resubmit an assignment for a higher grade, you can see your overall progress and things like that. We do have some other tabs down here, but we also have this course information tab that's sandwiched in up top. Course information is exactly what it sounds like. It has a whole slew of information up here. You have more information on my contact information. There is an orientation for educator, which is the program we use for our course. You're welcome to look through this if you need any help navigating. Getting started also has more important information here. The pace chart. If we need to work at a different pace besides our standard 4 assignments, this is where we can come create an individual pace planner. And this will let us set it up either based on how many assignments a week we'd like to do, or maybe we have a deadline. Maybe we need to get the course done by a certain time frame. This is where we would go to create our pace chart. We also have information in here about the course standards, some extra resources. Integrity. Academic integrity is something that is very important with virtual school. We understand that you all are working on a computer, and on the computer, on the internet, there are tons of resources. Some of those resources are incredible. There are videos, there are pictures and diagrams. There's, really easy to follow notes that'll help you out. And we don't really mind if you use those to help yourself, but we don't ever want to get in a situation where it looks like maybe you used what was on that resource as your answer. So you are welcome to use the sites. You're welcome to use the resources in the course, but we want to make sure that at all times we are hearing from you. I want to know what your thoughts are when we're typing up a free response question. I want to know if you're struggling. And I don't want to know if you're struggling so I can laugh at you. I want to know so that I can help you. I want to work through it with you. That way we can be successful together. So every so often you'll hear about academic integrity. And all that means is that we want to know your thoughts. We want to know what you're capable of. So we expect you to be doing your assignments. We expect that your work is not coming from somewhere on the internet or from your friend. We want to know what you think. If you have any questions about academic integrity, you are welcome to ask away. There are some times where even if you turn in an assignment, I might say, hey, did you get any information from here? No? Okay. And we're good to go. So please feel free if you ever have any concerns to let me know and we can work through those together. You'll also find ways to modify your contact information, take surveys, things like that. Now, further down in your blue tabs, we have a tab for discussion groups. Discussion groups aren't something that we're going to use all the time. We do have an assignment towards the beginning of the class, lesson 107, where we are going to be working on the discussion board. So what you would do is you would come to this discussion group tab, select the 107 discussion board, and then you would be able to post your discussion board post there or respond to your classmates. For the chat room and the whiteboard tabs, I don't know that I've ever really used those. These are two tabs that we're not really going to use, but they're extra resources if we do decide we need to use them. You do have a Students tab. In this Students tab, you are able to see whether or not there is any student that is in need of a collaboration. We'll talk about those collaborations in just a moment. Tech Support tab is another great resource. There are times where with all of this computer-based learning, if you have an issue that pops up, I can help you. But there are other times when I'm going to say, hey, have you contacted the tech support team yet? They are phenomenal. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten myself in a pickle and they're able to they know what the issue is and they're able to work through it so we can get back on track. So this technical support tab is a great resource to know what kind of things I can help you with right off the bat, like creating a PACE plan or working through an assignment or some of the information, the content that's in the class. Other times, though, if you forget your password or if you're having trouble maybe installing GeoGebra or your computer just isn't showing the page that's supposed to be there, that would be a time to contact our tech support team. So you can see they do have an online IM or chat-based setup. They also have a toll-free phone number that you can reach 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But as I said, don't be offended if I send you to the tech support team. It's probably because they can help you a whole lot quicker than I could for that particular issue. The announcement tab that's over here is going to take you right back to our announcement page that we started at. Other courses, if you're taking multiple virtual school classes, this is a great way to navigate between them. We also have some other tools in addition to a button for you to log off. Let's go back to our announcement page. Now, I mentioned earlier that we have what's called a collaboration requirement. What that is the state said, okay, we're okay with you doing the class from home or from the library or wherever your education takes you, but we want to make sure that at some point in the course you're interacting with other students. So we have this collaboration requirement. Now, as I stated earlier, in the Students tab that was over on the left side of the screen, there is a way for you to see a list of any student who's in need of a collaboration. What we found, though, is that sometimes when our students are looking for other partners, they're not so reliable. We've all got a lot going on in our lives, so sometimes we send an email or we send a text message and our partner may not get back to us during the time frame that we want. So what we've done is we've created a live lesson for that very same collaboration. You'll see that right now we offer a live session for lesson 306. We also offer a live collaboration session for assignment 904, one for each segment. Now, as you're working through the class, you are going to be required to complete one collaboration in segment 1 if you're enrolled in segment 1. You'll also be required to complete a collaboration in segment 2 if you're enrolled in segment 2. So what you would do is you would complete all other work leading up to lesson 306, for example, and then when you're ready, you would look at the schedule of times posted here, and you would just click on this box in order to join a session. Now it says on here to join early. Only the first 30 students are allowed. I would recommend clicking on this link about 15 to 20 minutes ahead of time to make sure that you get your seat. Otherwise, what can happen is if it's a busy day or if there's just, more students than normal in the session, you might receive a message that says this session is full. Please try again later. Bummer. That means that even if you were early, there's already 30 students in the session, so you won't be able to join. So you'll click on these links, whether it's for the 306 collaboration or 904. In the lesson, you will complete a short project with a small group of students. You'll also have a geometry instructor that's in there kind of popping in and out to check on you. The geometry instructor is there to help. However, we want to see what you and your classmates can create and what you're capable of doing. So we're not there to do the work for you. You'll complete this lesson and then afterwards you'll be able to fill out a short reflection sheet that's going to get submitted either to the 0.00 collaboration component for segment 1 or the 6.00 collaboration component for segment 2. This reflection sheet has questions on it like, what did you do? How did it go? Did you guys get along? Was everybody doing their part? What did you think? Did it help? The reflection sheet should only take you about 5 minutes or so after you complete a collaboration. What you'll be able to do, though, is you'll be able to turn in the group project to assignment 306, and then as soon as you complete that short reflection sheet, you'll be able to turn that in to assignment 0.00. So it's kind of a double whammy. You get credit for 2 assignments by doing your collaboration in a live lesson and then the short reflection sheet. So please feel free to take a peek at these when you are ready. Again, you would be expected to have completed all the way up to 3.05 before you did the 306 collaboration. And then for 904, you would be expected to have completed from the pretest all the way up through 903 before attending the 904 collaboration. Over on the right-hand side of the page, you will see we do have some other resources and links. There are review sessions that we offer. One of the things that you will see over on the right is this EOC review. Geometry is a course where the EOC is required for public school students. If you've already taken geometry, you may have already completed the EOC. I would recommend speaking with your guidance counselor at school for information on whether or not you would need to retake the EOC or if retaking the EOC would be beneficial to your overall average, things like that. But through the class, we will offer review sessions to help make sure that you're prepared going into that EOC. We also offer review sessions for your segment exam. So down in the bottom left, you'll see a small little box for segment exam review sessions. You are welcome to attend these segment review sessions before taking your segment 1 or segment 2 exam, but this is also something that we'll use if maybe we got to your segment exam and you didn't do so well. Maybe you didn't quite pass it. That's what we'll also use these segment exam reviews for, is to make sure that we do a quick review session. That way, if we need to redo your segment exam, you're prepared and ready to go. We do have some additional links over here for some of the basic construction steps. We have a tool for your compass and your straight edge. and how to use them. And then if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, you will also see a small little banner down here that you'll see in all of your virtual school classes. We have our calendar, we have a virtual library, which is pretty self-explanatory. There is a huge amount of resources in our virtual library that you're welcome to use. Verge is our student newspaper. We have students and faculty who participate to create this. So sometimes you'll see a letter coming out with important information, important policies and procedures. Other times, though, you're going to see lots of student interest pieces. What's going on? What's in style? What's the best band out there? Things like that. We do have a large number of student clubs and organizations at Florida Virtual School. You are welcome to click on the link for our student clubs and join any of those student clubs if you are interested. We also have some other resources here. So again, this is a lot of information to take in at once. You are welcome to get into the class, explore, go ahead and take a peek at your first couple of assignments. See what they're all about, see what it's going to be like. If you have any questions whatsoever about anything that was in this video or anything that you found as you've been exploring the course, please feel free to give me a call, send me a text message, email me. Let's get in touch. Let's make sure that we're going to get off to a strong start in the class. What I need for you to do in order to complete your welcome call and get you officially activated in the class, I need for you to send me a text message or send me an email with the password cupcake. That password is going to let me know that you have been able to watch your welcome video and you are ready to go. I look forward to talking to you all soon. If there's anything that I can do ever to give you a hand or help you out, please feel free to get in touch. I am so